This video is not intended for anyone 13 or younger. Hello viewers and welcome back to another chapter of Record of Ragnarok. I'm your humble host Josh24214 and today we are going to be tackling chapter 21. And with the videos as the views from the previous video looking pretty good, I think we should do at least a few more videos to see if this will go well. So in the previous chapter, we had basically a prologue to the fourth bout of Ragnarok, with the defeat of Poseidon by Kojiro's hands. The Greek gods are mightily pissed that one of their own has been Black Knight to death, and now they want some street justice for the humans. So they send out the mighty demigod hero of Hercules from Greek mythology, while Brunhilde unleashes her human combatant, and that human combatant happens to be the personification of all evil, with the greatest serial killer of all history, with Jack the Ripper being unleashed. And we get into this bout at long last, and let's dive into the chapter. And also, I would like to note, if you hear like any loud whirling or something like that, it's because I have my fan on right over there. And if it doesn't bother you, then I'll probably keep the fan on for the rest of it. So, with that little factoid over and done with, let us dive into the chapter and see how this bout will go. Before we get started, make sure you hit that subscribe button. It only takes 2 simple clicks. Click, click. Enjoy the episode. So, we dive into this chapter with chapter 21 as we return to the battlefield of a fully recreated city of London, England, and our two combatants are going to start the fight. While we get multiple shots of Hercules and Jack, and most of London, Heimdall, our commentating on the bout to start. And the chapter, it is entitled with Chapter 21, A Gentleman's Terms. So what the hell is that supposed to mean? So we get Heimdall starting commentating, saying, having ascended from mortality to divinity, this symbol of justice enveloped in glory, now faces off against one of the darkest criminals known to man. Pure justice versus pure evil, a truly unpredictable battle. As we move on to the next page, we see a very, very pissed off Hercules looking up at the cameras, and we're probably, as we cut away to Brunhilde and Gur, and most likely Hercules is angry at Brunhilde for pulling this stunt, as Gur starts a conversation saying, dear sister, I think Brother Hercules has really gone mad this time, as Brunhilde is just smiling on while this is going on, as we dive into like an inner monologue with Hercules saying, why? As on the next page, we get a full-blown dialogue of his inner monologues saying what the hell's going on here, with him saying, those who have fought so far, Lu Bu, Adam, Kojiro, they were truly suited to represent all of mankind. Their sort of fighting spirit can even move the hearts of the gods. However, this man, just who is my opponent? A serial killer who trifled with the lives of some frail maidens. As he's looking to Jack, all super pissed. And we have that inner monologue over and done with. On the next page, we see Hercules still angry at Jack, looking at Jack. And yeah, if you had to face a serial killer instead of fighting a noble warrior like Lubu, Adam, and Kojiro. And the only words Hercules says is that he says, "Why?" looking at Jack. And in this gorgeous artwork. As we get Brunhilde, a shot of Brunhilde on the next page, and then quickly cut back to the ring with Hercules doing a big shouting moment saying, "Don't mock me, Brunhilde." As everybody, as we cut away to the next panels with seeing the side of the humans seeing all this, as we get more expectation on the crowd, as they're still trying to understand what the hell is going on with this bout, saying with random people saying a, a serial murderer is mankind's representative. Hmm. Pagoda, I honestly don't know who the feck I should be supporting. For starters, what's that feller's name again? Jack the Shredder or something? As the last person, but someone interrupts and corrects the man, saying, Jack the Ripper, the worst murderer in human history. So we see this fine-looking gentleman with a smoke pipe just stating the obvious on what the hell is going on with Jack the Ripper fighting for humanity. As on the next page, our mysterious smoking man is basically talking about who Jack the Ripper is and what made him so famous in the first place, saying, in the late 19th century, in the slums of the city of London, at least 5 prostitutes were murdered with some kind of sharp object. Most likely a blade, but yeah, but funny thing, like 2 years ago, like I would like to stop here that I, I, the last vacation I ever went to was a Christmas holiday, and I went back to my home, my birthplace, my born country where I was born. I was born in the UK, and we were just basically having Christmas with the family, and we were in London, and we decided to go on a Jack the Ripper tour. And yeah, lots of stuff about Jack the Ripper, and we got to see most of the famous spots of supposedly of the spots of Jack the Ripper committed the murders, and we all know that Jack the Ripper usually cuts through the stomach, and as far as I recall, he pulls out the intestines and tried to make it fancy. And the police were never actually managed to caught him, and yeah, and this was during way back when CSI technology wasn't in play, and it was mostly of word of mouth, mostly. And yeah, that system back then wasn't working. So most likely after the whole Jack the Ripper went down and Jack the Ripper stopped his murders, that's when the whole using evidence and collecting clues and investigations like CSI and crime scene investigations got big, and we never had like another Jack the Ripper ever again. And I have heard that there are some who trying to figure out who the Ripper is, but it's mostly a super cold case by then, and I would like to stop that now. So, but after getting through that diatribe, let's just get back into the story of what the I would just want to bring that up. It was before the whole COVID mess got started, and it was like a few days before. It was in around a couple of days before New Year's, I think it was. We went on the tour, but anyway, our smoking man continues the backstory of Jack the Ripper as far as we know. Scotland Yard's best were dispatched to pursue the criminal, but they couldn't even grasp his coattails. Yes, that mystery couldn't even be solved by my Sherlock Holmes. And we know who the smoking man is. It's Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, the famous writer who wrote Sherlock Holmes and inspired the whole CSI investigation. So great man. As the New York we cut to the New York paparazzi figuring this out that this is Sir Arthur Conan Doyle who's watching this bout. Him saying, "You're, it can't be." as we cut away, as we get the full introduction of Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, novelist, author of the Sherlock Holmes series. And Conan Doyle is just basically sitting on a super fancy chair because yeah, he's super famous. As we get more like an intro, like a narration box is saying, this mystery novelist, with one of the world's brightest minds, has also, over the course of his life, sought to finally put the mystery of Jack the Ripper's identity to an end. So, and so sure, Conan Doyle continues saying, I see. So that is Jack the Ripper, as we quickly zoom into the screen as we get back to the arena with Jack. And on the next page, we continue the beginning talks of Hercules, and Hercules starts talking to Jack again, saying, first things first. If you step, as we cut forward backwards with Jack, the gods, in their fancy podium, and Hercules, with Hercules continuing saying, first things first. If you step down and admit defeat right now, then I will implore Lord Zeus to not completely destroy your soul. Because unlike you, I despise senseless murder, as he's just holding up his club and just getting ready to beat the tar out of Jack for his famous crimes. And Jack just looks on, just like, whatever, just ignoring him. And we finally get to hear Jack the Ripper finally speak in this series, saying, Sir, I must first thank you kindly for agreeing to do battle in my native London. However, I am afraid to say that I can do no such thing. What? As Hercules just interrupts, saying, what? And Jack continues saying, no matter how some the odds of victory may be, I must always accept a duel. As he's going behind his back, pulling out something. So what the hell is he pulling out? And if you see it in the panel, and I think we know what we're seeing. As Jack finishes pulling out two swords out of his back somehow, with Jack proclaiming, that is, for I am a gentleman. As we see that these two swords are actually two halves of a goddamn pair of fucking scissors. A scissor swords. No, god damn it. I do not want it. Look, I know you guys probably. I know that we seen a pair of scissored swords from Kill la Kill. I know that's an actual thing with scissored swords from Kill la Kill. I have never watched it. And for good frickin' reason. Good frickin' reason I never watched it. And it's the same problem I have with like, if you have seen when I originally played on Game Anyone uploading Danganronpa 2, you probably know what my problem is with Kill la Kill. It's just full of BDSM prostitution, basically. That the women are just basically wearing skimpy clothing and getting into nudity if you chop it off. Senseless sexism. I know if you guys like Kill la Kill, that's great. I'm not trying to be mean. I'm just saying I just don't like Kill la Kill because of how those women are dressed, looking like goddamn goddamn skimpy outfits. Thank you very much. I do not like fan service at all. It just, like, my god, it's just annoying. I'm okay with it sometimes, unless if it goes far too long. I just ask myself, please shoot me. But that's just my opinion. If you like Kill la Kill, that's fine. I'm not trying to start any flame wars, okay? We're cool. We're cool. As we see Hercules kind of not, what the frick? As the audience for the human side saying, "Another dual wielder? No, that must be," as Jack interrupts saying, "Observe closely." And the next panel we see, yeah, it's a giant pair of scissors, so he just basically chinks on the two halves and just make a giant pair of scissors, which is completely scientifically possible. I mean, who would want a giant pair of fucking scissors? It's ridiculous. As Jack proclaims that this is my Phaland. I'm sorry, I can't say the last word right. I know that the Phaland is basically the the holy weapon that can kill a god, that can even harm a god. If you've seen the anime, the only way the humans can kill a god is through these Phalands, and that's from bonding with a Valkyrie. So yeah, so Jack has just revealed that his giant pair of scissors is actually his holy weapon. So I'm just going to refer to the Phaland as their holy weapon from now on. And the crowd has the same reaction to this baffling madness, with them saying, "They are scissors! By Jove, how terrifying!" As Arthur Conan Doyle just leans back in his chair, saying, with a good smile on his face, saying, "Now that is a deadly weapon." And on the next page, Jack is just showing off flipping around his scissor blade, being efficient as possible, as he's walking towards a lamppost, with Jack continuing the conversation, saying, "This is quite wonderful indeed." As we quickly cut away to Gur and Brunhilde, with Jack saying, "One might even call it my regalium." And yeah, on the last panel of this panel, he just basically samurai cuts through the lamppost with his giant pair of scissors, like a samurai strike. And seconds later, the lamppost starts falling off. And yeah, the pair of scissors is very sharp, and it can cut through metal like a hot knife through butter. And the lamppost just basically crashes in front of Hercules, and small bits of debris from the glass just goes near Hercules. And Jack continues saying, "Everything seems but like paper now." As we continue with the next panel, we quickly cut away to the gods as they try to figure out what the hell's going on with the giant scissors, saying, with Ares, god of war, saying, "Giant scissors, eh? Yet another unconventional weapon." With Hermes continuing saying, "Indeed, indeed." With Loki saying, "Woo! Wow." Not very impressed. As we quickly cut back to our two combatants getting ready to fight. And with Hercules continuing saying, "Good. If that's what you want," on the next panel, then I'll do all I can to meet your demands." And after that, Jack just tips his head down and quickly buggers off. Yeah, he basically runs away from this fight. Yeah, that our savior of humanity, for ladies and gentlemen, he buggers off. And Hercules is kind of surprised of what the hell just happened. Even Heimdall's kind of shocked at this weird moment, with Hercules saying, as Heimdall continues saying, with his commentary, he ran away.
He buggered off. So he has his scarf.
Jack has beat a hasty retreat right in the face of the enemy, as he quickly runs off into the alleyway, and Loki has to laugh to himself. Wow, you really did it. And Hercules, kind of shocked at this weird moment, saying, "He ran away?" And on the next panel, Hercules is still mighty pissed that, yeah, Jack the Ripper was just basically boasting, and he just buggers off. And Hercules just goes after Jack with him saying, "Not so fast," as he runs around the corner. As we see Hercules seeing down the alleyway, and on the next panel we still see Hercules trying to see where Jack ran off to, with Hercules saying, "What are you doing?" As we see, of course, Jack the Ripper had to run away to go to a cafe and order himself his last cup of tea before maybe dying towards Hercules and getting Thanos to death. And Jack answers the question saying, "Pardon me, but it just turned tea time." And we get a little editor's note saying, "For those who don't know, tea time is commonly used to refer to afternoon tea, a light meal commercially held between 3 and 5 p.m. in the United Kingdom, especially during the Victorian era." And on the next panel, after pouring his tea, he's just like holding it out for Hercules with Jack continues saying, "Even if one as a warrior, it is in a gentleman's taste that one ought to break for tea time. Would you fancy a cup, sir?" And Hercules is not buying this crap, saying, "Draw your weapon," as he's starting to march towards Jack, saying, with Jack continues saying, "My, isn't isn't this just the finest Darjeeling?" And we got another editor's note about what the hell that is. Darjeeling is a type of tea named after the Indian city in which it grows. Well, the mostly tea that we ever had is Earl Grey. And Hercules doesn't fancy a cup of tea. He just wants his fight, and Hercules just saying, "Why you?" As on the next page, Hercules stops and sees right in front of him a vibcord wire, just a wire in front of him. Basically a trap set up by Jack early, and with Hercules saying, "This is..." And Jack says, "Oops," with Hercules saying, "You fool," as Hercules arrogantly breaks the wire. So it's probably going to activate a trap. And on the next panel, yeah, we see that a whole rain of knives, daggers, butter knives are falling from heaven. Basically, heavenly blades coming down to attack Jack, with Heimdall interrupting, saying, "A trap!" And Hercules reacting to this, and Jack's looking at the scene, hopefully that his plan will kill him. But on the next panel, because they're not blessed, it's not Jack's holy weapon, the butter knives just simply bounce off his skin as if the instruction that didn't even make a scratch. Because only heavenly weapons can kill a god or pierce the flesh. So, yeah, so gods are basically indestructible. And Jack is admiring this scene, saying, "Oh, okay." And Hercules interrupts, saying, "Bastard, didn't Brunhilde tell you anything?" And on the next panel, Hercules continues saying, "Mortal weapons cannot make a single mark upon the body of a god." And Jack is just sipping his tea. And then Jack takes over the conversation, saying, "I need to try everything for myself in order to attain an understanding of how it works, sir." So I guess this is just Jack experimenting. Like I think that, yeah, Brunhilde probably did had a talk with Jack before his bout to tell him that, yeah, you can't kill a god with mortal weapons. You have to use the holy blade to kill him. And Hercules gets in front of Jack as he's finished off his tea, and probably just about to bash the guy in the face. As we see on the next panel, we see Hercules raising his club right high and just getting randomly Hulk bash him to death, as Jack is preparing his scissor blades to counter the hit, as Hercules continues saying, "Be gone," as Jack answers that by saying, "Certainly." And on the next panel, Jack pulls out a gun. So yeah, Jack is packing. As Heimdall continues saying, Jack, Jack, Jack pulled a gun straight out of his sleeves. And Jack fires the weapon, but it's not filled with bullets. It's actually a grappling hook. And Jack is just doing a Batman and just grapple his way out of the fight, getting more distance from Hercules. And he doesn't have not one grapple gun, but two grapple guns, as he fires off his second one. Moving to the next panel, we see Jack moving to his second destination on his second shot. As we cut away to Gur and Brunhilde with Gur saying, he ran away again. As Hercules still super pissed that he's being denied his prey, as Hercules continues saying, trying to get away won't do you any good. As on the next panel, he's shaking the earth, basically pounding the earth, getting ready to jump, causing a gigantic earthquake around the area. As we see, then Hercules jumps up into the air to go after Jack. As Jack realizes and looks down, seeing Hercules is trying to grab him, and Hercules is still flying upwards as Jack is caught by surprise, with Hercules managed to get on equal footing with Jack as Hercules is getting ready for his next swing of his club, and Jack is about to open up the scissors, and at least Jack manages to grab the club before he could be squashed by Hercules with the scissors, and they're just locked horns for a bit as we cut to the next panel, as we see, oh, that's not good. As the club bashes through the Valkyrie blade of the giant scissors, smashing it to pieces with such tremendous force, and that's with super strength after all. And Jack is fully surprised at this, that his Valkyrie blade is basically destroyed, and Jack crashes into the earth. As we cut to the next panel with Heimdall continuing saying, oh, Hercules has turned Jack the Ripper's scissor weapon into scrap metal. As Jack just saying, oh, god damn it. And the human side of the crowd is kind of super angry at this, that they're basically screwed, and Jack is about to die, saying, whoa, that guy was useless after all. And Brunhilde and Gur is just watching at this, with Gur being disappointed, and strangely enough, we don't see Brunhilde's face, strangely enough. As we quickly cut back to Jack and Hercules, with Hercules towering over him, and this is a nice shot with having Jack being the forefront, while we see a humongous Hercules towering over him, just about to do the finishing blow, with Hercules saying, "It's over." But Jack will not give up the fight. He will dodge out of the way, but he hits a wall, one of the buildings, as Hercules is heading towards him. But Jack is going to do something desperate, so he goes into his pouch or something, trying to pull out more butter knives. But Hercules reminds us from just a couple of moments ago, with Hercules saying, how many times do I have to tell you? Man-made weapons can't pierce my... As Jack interrupts, saying, go, and he does a barrage of butter knives, sending a bunch of butter knives to hurt Hercules, but that's pretty much not gonna work. With Heimdall interrupts, saying, he tries, but in vain. The desperate Jack has flung all the knives he had at Hercules. As Hercules interrupts, saying, it is useless, as he's getting ready to just end this fight once and for all. And on the next panel, we see stab. So something just freaking happened. So, and we see all the gods from the podium with Ares, Hermes, Zeus, Shiva, Loki just looking shocked at this. As we see on the next panel after the gods' reaction, we see a drop of blood on the ground. And we see Arthur Conan Doyle shocked at this scene as well. And Heimdall shocked as well, with Heimdall continuing saying, What is this? That, that's impossible! As we see on the next panel, those butter knives had made their mark and able to stab through the body of Hercules. All those knives that hit him. So somehow Jack has found a way to make more holy weapons to even hurt the mighty Hercules. As Heimdall continues saying, Do my eyes deceive me, folks? Are those knives sticking out of Hercules' body? And even Hercules is freaking out about this as he starts to cough up blood by this. As we continue on the next panel, Hercules is like freaking out, saying, as Jack's saying, and Hercules just asks the same thing that everybody is asking at this point, saying, why? Which should, I think the question should be, how did Jack do it? How did Jack able to stab through Hercules? Why? That is weird. Why is it why? If I had to do this scene, I probably would change the why to how for Hercules. So Jack after Hercules raises the question, Jack answers his question on what the hell is going on with Jack continuing saying how, or basically why. And Jack continues saying, I had stated before that my holy weapon was those scissors, but... And on the next panel, we see a gorgeous artwork with the shot of Jack the Ripper on the screen, with the human side audience, with Jack answering the question that he says the following: that was a lie. So he lied about the giant pair of scissors being his holy weapon. So yeah, that's kind of clever, hiding the fact of his holy weapon. That doesn't explain how did the scissors able to cut through the lamppost earlier, but I hope that's easily explained, that how did those giant pair of scissors cut through the lamppost like butter. And yeah, the gods and even Hercules is shocked by this revelation, with Jack lying about the giant pair of scissors, with Hermes saying, oh. And Loki states the obvious, saying, he's gonna do it. And we quickly cut back to Jack explaining what the hell's going on, with Jack saying, it is rather naive of you to get caught in such simple traps, no? As Hercules is still mighty pissed at this treachery. Jack is fighting God, and yeah, brute force is not going to be useful against the gods, and the gods are incredibly super strong, so Jack had to implement a new strategy, had to add strategy into this fight, and the lie does help a bit. Because gods are so freaking arrogant that they're indestructible, so they're pride before the fall, basically. And with Jack continuing saying, but Hercules continues saying, answers the question, saying, your true weapon is those knives? As Jack answers the question, saying, yes, my holy weapon is. As he quickly goes into the pouch again, as we saw earlier, with both hands, grabbing more butter knives on string this time, with those knives attached to fiber cord wires, or piano wire, as he pulls them out in a fancy two-thirds spread with gorgeous artwork, as we quickly cut away to the gods, trying to figure out what the hell's going on with Shiva, Ares, Heimdall, Zeus, and even Odin. And also, Odin doesn't really talk that much. He lets his birds talk. So the birds of Odin starts talking, saying the blackbird is saying, "Which is the real weapon?" As Jack answers the question, saying, "This." As we see the shot of the pouch where the knives came from, saying that this Rea, Rea, Regalava generating pouch. So his pouch is his holy weapon. And even Heimdall's reacting to this, saying, "A pouch?" And Jack continues saying, "Unfortunately, however, no weapon can be produced larger than the pouch itself." So what is Jack answering the question, saying, yeah, the pouch is the weapon, and the reason why there are so many knives coming out, as long as the size of the pouch, he can pull pretty much any weapon out of that particular pouch. So as long as he has that holy pouch, he can pull any weapon at the size of the pouch can use. Pouch's capacity, and it's probably a giant bag of holding, probably holding a lot of fucking knives. And Jack continues saying, "What I carry is not ready-made, but custom-made." So those butter knives are pretty much his weapons during his killing of the 5 prostitutes, most likely. And Jack reveals those knives, getting ready for the real bouts. For Jack continues saying, "For that is in a gentleman's taste." As we cut away to the gods and the mortals, with the mortals saying, "Oh, oh, good heavens!" As the gods react to this bullshit, with the gods saying, "That coward! Humanity is truly despicable." As we quickly cut away to Gur and Brunhilde, with Gur starting the conversation with Brunhilde, with Gur saying, I don't get it at all." As we continue the conversation, with Gur saying on the next panel, "Why? Why did you choose that guy?" And Brunhilde answers saying, "Oh, Gur, do you know of the only way in which men are superior to the gods?" As Gur is looking towards Brunhilde, as Brunhilde is just smiling from the answering Gur's question, saying, as we quickly cut to the next panel, we see, oh god, that we get a bit of dark overtone, as we get, oh god, what the hell's going on with Brunhilde's eyes? All swirly like and going full bipolar again. With Brunhilde saying, "It is malice." And Gur is kind of shocked at this, and as seeing this dark moment occurred, Brunhilde's just back to normal, just smiling casually. So yeah, Brunhilde's kind of a psychopath. With Brunhilde continuing saying, "The most malicious acts of man can pierce even the strongest virtues of the gods." As we cut quick back to the fight with Jack and Hercules, with Jack saying, "Now, my almighty hero," as Jack is getting ready to attack Hercules again. As we see another good, awesome shot of Jack unleashing his full malice, saying, "Tremble in fear," and gorgeous, creepy artwork. And sadly, that is the end of the chapter on that. So yeah, that's chapter 21, and the full fight of Ragnarok has begun for the 4th bout. And so far that, yeah, this is going to be a very good fight between Jack and Hercules. So Jack being very smart about this fight and not going full brute force and implementing tactics and psychological warfare to beat Hercules with, while Hercules is just basically relying on brute force. And yes, I know there's a giant, the sun's going through the goddamn blinds, so sorry about that. Can't be helped. I don't know how long that's been there for. So with that, we will have to wait until chapter 22 as we continue this bout. So until then, have a good day, everybody, and I'll see you all in the next chapter as we see how this fight escalates more with to Jack or Hercules. So until then, have a good day, everybody, and I'll see you all in the next chapter. So bye for now.